Welcome to SVG Television News for Wednesday, February 4th, 2015. I'm Jimmy Prince with the details. In the news tonight, the entire opposition left the House of Assembly prematurely yesterday during the wrap-up of the 2015 budget debate by Prime Minister Dr. Gonsalves. The decision to stage a walkout came following a disagreement between opposition Senator Dr. Linton Lewis and the Speaker of the House, Hendrik Alexander. Senator Lewis was asked to leave the Parliament after he used words that were deemed unparliamentary in rebuttal to a statement made by Prime Minister Dr. Gonsalves.
We debate an issue which involves any issue of the law. We heard it this morning, whether it's international law, offshore law, constitutional law, administrative law. He says, when he cannot answer, he says, I'm an expert in that.
But stop talk, that's a lie again, Mr. Speaker.
But you just said that today.
Please, I've asked you to leave the Parliament. You know that word is unparliamentary.
Because that's untrue.
Please leave the Parliament.
But I heard other people saying that.
I said to you, please leave.
No, you guys listen to the Prime Minister that, sir.
Honourable member.
I've heard Senator Francis doing it all the time.
I am
and
saying,
you didn't say that?
You have addressed the man as...
I've heard Senator Francis doing that, and you didn't say that? I've heard Senator Francis saying that. You never told him that?
Leave the Parliament. No.
I've heard it many times.
I wasn't there. I was not there.
But if I use... I never say... I've heard him say all...
The situation then escalated when Dr. Lewis is alleged to have made a particular statement to the Speaker.
Yes, that's what I'm waiting for. I guess that's what you all want to do. Leave the Parliament now. I am saying, I just asked him to discontinue that discourse. Please leave the Parliament now.
Many times I've heard it here.
If you don't,
Many times I've heard it here today.
I will name you, please leave the Parliament now.
No worry, man. You have to come to me, St. George.
I was not here when I have to come to I remember that we need to come to... I was born there. Just leave it. Go outside.
Meanwhile, the Speaker of the House is said to be taking the comments made by the opposition senator very seriously. He told SVG Television News earlier today that he has already made an official report to the police on the matter and is at the moment preparing a full transcript to send to them. Alexander says it is not the first time he has been in confrontation with the opposition senator, explaining that recently Dr. Lewis accosted him in Kaliakwa and referred to him in a very derogatory manner. Also present in the House of Parliament when the incident occurred were a number of top-ranking officers of the Royal St. Vincent and the Grenadines Police Force, including Commissioner of Police Michael Charles. In related news, Senator Linton Lewis today told SVG-TV News that he is very much satisfied with his statement and the choice of words to the Speaker. Lewis says he does not view his statement as a threat and is not worried about anything concerning yesterday's incident. The opposition senator says a threat in law is a threat to kill, and never once has he threatened to kill the Speaker. Lewis says it is very silly of the Speaker to indicate that he is taking the comments very seriously. In other news, after much controversy, the owner of Bigger Trucking and the Block Construction Company is planning to resume his mining operations at Rabaka next Saturday, that's February 14th, 2014. That should be 2015. In an interview with SVG Television News, Samuel explains that last week in a meeting with Prime Minister Dr. Gonsalves, it was indicated to him and his legal team that there is no need for the acquisition of a quarry license before he recommences his mining operations at Rabaka. Samuel says with such good news, he immediately went ahead, putting plans in place to recommence his business at Rabaka on February 14th.
So now we have I think I could say this, the fight for us to get back our permission is behind us now, but there's a bigger fight ahead of us now. Now we have gotten back our permission. I'm just saying here now, because it is so that the equipment are in a terrible state. I would even go so far to say some of them has reached to the point where they has become derelict now. So, on the 14th, it is open to the general public who want to come to help us clean up, who want to come to us to observe to get the opportunity to come to visit that parcel land that was in so much of contention and everything. So persons can really have a feel, and when people come there, I personally give them a tour of the land. It's a place that you could hike. It's a beautiful piece of land. So persons can really come and experience the atmosphere at Rabaka, and they can see for themselves what you are doing there.
Samuel says he expects the government will assist in providing financial and or even technical assistance to ensure his company is fully functional again.
I'm hoping that the same spirit that was used in bringing that first part of the struggle to an end in terms of reinstating our permission to operate can be done, and also in relation to our equipment, restoring us our equipment.
So you're hoping to have the government assist you in getting your equipment operational again? That's the hope.
Precisely.
Meanwhile, Samuel says though he will be returning to Rabaka in just under 2 weeks, he does not see his company producing any blocks before year end.
And immediately, how many persons you see or hope to employ following the 14th?
Okay, following the 14th, well, we will just need a few employees for helping in the actual cleaning up of the site, going through the equipment. But most of these jobs that are going to be there for us are going to be technical persons' job in terms of mechanic, welders, and persons who do this type of work are the ones. It wouldn't be a while before we can. It would be a while before we can see the actual block makers, the persons who really respond to the direct making of block, and laborers. Yeah, we might need a few laborers where we have a couple cutlass job and so to do, but the most of the person that will be needed is person who can really help to sort out the equipment them, and where they cannot be sorted out, then we have to replace.
Meanwhile, Prime Minister Dr. Gonsalves, during his budget wrap-up yesterday, spoke briefly on the current status of the Bigger Bigs issue from an administrative standpoint. Dr. Gonsalves also read from a letter which was received from Bigger Bigs and his team, thanking him for facilitating the recent meeting and bringing the matter to a further resolution.
Coming out of our discussions, we understand that a consensus was reached on Senator Francis's view that there is no requirement for a quarry license to be issued after all, and that this is the correct approach. As we understand it, a quarry license is only required in applications where blasting and the use of explosives are involved, and only in circumstances where the area being mined is declared to be a mining quarry. As Senator Francis aptly pointed out, that this was confirmed by Mr. Samuel, the mining operations conducted by Bigger Trucking at Rabaka entails only excavation of aggregate, and no blasting of boulders takes place in the course of operations. We also said that if there's any blasting, which would be limited, they will inform us in advance so we can put necessary things in place. Therefore, the legal and bureaucratic processes involved in declaring the area quarry site, including the measures required to be taken by the operators to facilitate such a process, are entirely redundant.
It is now 4 years since the closure of the mining operations by Bigger Bigs at Rabaka. Chief Executive Officer of the SVG Tourism Authority, Glen Beache, is making clear that his unit has to balance carefully its attempt to promote Mustique as a getaway destination while ensuring the protection of the privacy of visitors, including celebrities. Beache has responded to criticism on social media and other fora that the Tourism Authority is not capitalizing on the fame of the Grenadine Island, hailed as one of the best tourist destinations in the world.
You have to understand that what attracts these celebrities to Mustique is the privacy aspect. It's away from all the rush. And even when people come to St. Vincent, on mainland St. Vincent, they like the fact that they don't get rushed a lot. People asking them for their autographs. And while, yes, the celebrities are covered sometimes being in Mustique, and the Tourism Authority, we would love them to say, Mustique, part of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, one of the islands of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. When they don't, it's still okay, because Mustique is part of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, and money going into Mustique is money into St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Ideally, yes, I would like SVG to be mentioned, but if they are not, it is still part of St. Vincent and the Grenadines that the story is on.
It is reported that last weekend, the 60th birthday celebration for the mother of the Duchess of Cambridge, Carol Middleton, was hosted on Mustique. Noting that 2015 is shaping up to be a good year for tourism, Beache points out that St. Vincent and the Grenadines has recently been listed as number 12 on the New York Times 52 places to visit in 2015.
In the New York Times, we had a story, the top 52 destinations to visit in 2015, and St. Vincent and the Grenadines came in at number 12. The only Caribbean country ahead of us was Cuba, and as a matter of fact, besides Cuba and St. Vincent and the Grenadines, the only other Caribbean country to be mentioned in it was St. Kitts. So we did quite well when you're looking at the top 52 destinations, and that doesn't include, it's not just about countries, there's cities and so on. So it's not to say the United States would be mentioned, or Canada, or the UK. Cities like Toronto, Vancouver, New York were mentioned. So that's pretty good. Then we had another story done by the Huffington Post, which was a great one, which said St. Vincent and the Grenadines, these islands are too good to be true. So the name of St. Vincent and the Grenadines is getting out there. The 32 islands and keys that make up the product, that is SVG, we're getting out there.
Meanwhile, the Tourism Authority's CEO says he is disappointed with criticism coming from the opposition in Parliament, who claimed that the articles in the New York Times and Huffington Post, which praised SVG as a top tourism destination, were fabricated. Beache explained that the readers are the ones who chose the destinations and called on the opposition to do more research before they pass judgment.
And I was disappointed to hear the opposition basically stating that, well, we probably had something to do with it. I should say that the one in the New York Times was reader's choice. So it wasn't the journalists that chose them. These were the readers of the New York Times that chose these destinations to visit in 2015. I'm just hoping that that ends up seeing my numbers go up a bit more for 2015. But, you know, we do a lot of work, and I think people need to understand. I think one of the limitations within the tourism industry is that once somebody has traveled, they automatically believe they're an expert on tourism, which is not the case. And I think the opposition, listening to them in Parliament, especially the Honourable Leader of the Opposition and the member for Northern Grenadines, that they really do, and let me say it because I listened to Parliament yesterday, I'm not telling them that they need to read more, but they do need to read more on tourism to understand what it is about.
Some news from the courts now. A joint operation by the Coast Guard and the Narcotics Division has led to the arrest of 3 persons from the Otley Hall and the Rose Place areas on February 1st, 2015. Rafik Dopwell, Tevin John and Roya Boyens were intercepted with 494 pounds of marijuana on a speedboat in the Beache Channel. The trio appeared at the Serious Offences Court this morning before Chief Magistrate Rishan Brown Matas, and was not allowed to plead to the joint charge, as the Chief Prosecutor Delplesh indicated to the court that the charges were laid indictably. He, however, had no objection to their bail, which was allowed in the sum of $180,000, each with 2 sureties. They were also ordered to report to the Central Police Station twice weekly on Mondays and Thursdays between 6 a.m. and 6 p.m., and also to surrender all travel documents to the court. The preliminary inquiry is scheduled to be heard on April 26, 2015.